I think one thing I can point to is that, we all understand that Russia is under intense, sanction from the West due to the conflict in Ukraine. Nevertheless, Russia's economy still survives and thrives. And I think this is, very much also due to, keeping a normal trade relationship with China. And I think this shows the kind of relationship we have. China takes more or less a sort of a neutral position on this, and also plays quite a proactive role in trying to promote peace and solution in that conflict. So I think this is a very good example of that. Other examples.
Professor Gong, hold that thought. Okay. We're getting some action at the airport here in Beijing. We do understand that we're getting the visual of President Vladimir Putin's plane that is right now landing at the airport in the Chinese capital. President Vladimir Putin is in China for a 2-day state visit.
And this is his 25th visit to China, as stressed by the spokesperson of the Foreign Ministry on a press conference. And he gave an important detail about this visit. Well, the 25th visit is not merely a matter of a record, of course. In major country relations, repeated visits at the highest level reflect continuity, trust, and a well-established channel of direct communications.
That's spot on, Doning. If you're just joining us here on CGTN, it's 16 past 11 p.m. here in Beijing, and we're looking at President Vladimir Putin's plane that has just landed here at the airport in the Chinese capital. And this visit comes at a particularly meaningful moment. According to the Foreign Ministry, during this visit, the two heads of state will exchange views on bilateral relations and cooperation in various fields, international and regional issues of mutual interest. That agenda gives us a clear sense of the visit structure. The foundation is bilateral relations. The substance is a practical cooperation, and the wider significance lies in coordination on issues of common concern.
Well, Russian President Vladimir Putin's plane is approaching the reception area in the Beijing Capital International Airport. And the Foreign Ministry of China described the current state of China-Russia relations in the very clear terms. He said that in recent years, under the strategic guidance of President Xi Jinping and President Putin, the China-Russia comprehensive strategic partnership of coordination for a new era has developed in a healthy, stable, and in-depth manner.
That's right, and before we get into these 3 words for you, this is also a very important anniversary year, 30 years since the strategic partnership of coordination between China and Russia, 25 years since the signing of that treaty of good neighborliness and friendly cooperation. So it's high time we took stock of past achievements, a look at where we stand today, and chart a course down the road between China and Russia. Doni mentioned 3 words just now: healthy, stable, and in-depth manner. Let's get into these 3 words for you as we watch actions on the ground at the airport here in Beijing. So healthy speaks to the quality of the relationship. Stable speaks to its resilience and predictability. In-depth tells that the cooperation is not standing still. It's expanding into more fields, more mechanisms, and more layers of society.
Right, and we can see that the plane is still taxiing, and President Putin is expected to appear at the Beijing Capital International Airport in a short while. And actually the Foreign Ministry's remarks we've been talking about placed this visit in a wider historical frame. As what you said, this year marks the 30th anniversary of the establishment of the China-Russia Strategic Partnership of Coordination, and it also marks the 25th anniversary of the signing of the Treaty of Good Neighborliness and Friendly Cooperation. And it is the year when China-Russia Years of Education are being launched. And that means the visit carries 3 layers, meaning at once a strategic milestone, a treaty-based foundation, and a future-oriented people-to-people agenda.
And just now we talked a lot about how the two leaders have known each other really well and how head of state diplomacy has contributed to that strategic guidance by the two leaders in terms of fostering and nurturing this relationship between China and Russia. In case you're wondering how this bilateral relationship could be further boosted to a new level this time when the two presidents meet, according to the Chinese Foreign Ministry, the two leaders will exchange views on bilateral relations and cooperation in various fields. The spokesperson, Guo Jiakun, said that cooperation in various fields between China and Russia has continued to expand and has brought tangible benefits to both countries and both peoples.
Right, and the plane is apparently still taxiing on the runway toward the reception area. And in a moment later, some senior Chinese officials will greet President Putin on his arrival. And ahead of the state visit, China has emphasized that the two countries will use this occasion to further advance the relationship toward greater depth and a higher level. And that formulation connects directly with the timing of the visit. Well, 30 years of strategic partnership we're talking about show the continuity of political trust between the two sides, and 25 years of treaty show the importance of a good neighborliness and long-term commitment here. And the launch of the education years shows that relationship is also looking forward to the next generation.
Yeah, and a lot of excitement, obviously, around the years of education between China and Russia starting 2026, because that will primarily involve the younger part of the population on both sides. And these are the demographics that will most likely embrace cultural communication, cultural understanding, hence boosting people-to-people exchanges between China and Russia. So we look very much forward to seeing the results of those exchange events and exchange programs in the sphere of education.
Right, and the relationship of the future generation is very important. And how popular is China-Russia relations in young people is of great significance, especially today. And Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said today that China-Russia everlasting friendship will enjoy even greater popular support. And here's Guo Jiakun again making the remarks at a news briefing today when asked to comment on the survey conducted by the Chinese and Russian sides of the Council of Education under the China-Russia Committee for Friendship, Peace and Development on China-Russia youth friendship and cultural exchange among people aged between 18 and 35 in the country, is basically the younger generation. And the survey found over 80% of those surveyed view China-Russia relations as friendly. Well, Mr. Liu, based on the results of the survey, which is conducted between, in people aged between 18 and 35, quite a young generation, how they look at the China-Russia relationship. How do you see 80% of the young people supporting it?
Well, they enjoy the games created by Chinese the designers, particularly Tencent, the owner, etc. So that's the popular culture is really the most attractive to the younger generations through my interaction with the students from Russia and from also many parts of the Central Asia countries, which is very much understandable. And two is that the Chinese working relationship with Russia in terms of the Confucius Institute for them to learn the Chinese language, Chinese culture. That has also borne some quite of sort of fruits. And more realistically, it is really the made in China that is there to flood the entire market, given also the sanctions that can really deprive the access to the daily commodities, from smartphones to the e-cars, etc. And so they very much love China in terms of the market coverage, and also the Chinese brand is getting more and more attractive. And now the collaboration on the business side, from the entire supply chain, from manufacture to logistics to distribution, dealership. So these are there to work so much close. When you really get engaged with each other on a deeper level, and you kind of fall in love with each other. So that's how romance can really develop, between people. And so now I think there's going to be more educational programs that can really join to develop, and also there are more of the sports that's there also to boost the younger generation to engage with each other for collective training and also friendly competition.
I just want to add that the Russian sentiment and perception of China has undergone a big transformation in my view. The image of the made in China products, for example, in Russia, used to be always thought as something sort of inferior to the European brands and American brands. Not anymore, I would say. I mean, if you look at the Russians' acceptance of the electronic products, cars, for example, right? Automobiles. Today, some of the Chinese brands cars in Russia actually priced pretty high. So I think that Russia has really sort of accepted the China, made in China products. And on top of this, I think in Moscow, for example, right now there's sort of a fad to study Chinese.
Right. Based on that kind of enthusiasm,
right.
I think President Putin's visit this time is going to be warmly welcomed, as we can see right now in the Beijing Capital International Airport. The guards of honor are entering the reception area and are getting ready to receive President Putin's 25th visit to the country.
And it looks like we're also seeing children, young children in uniform making their way to the plane. This is all very much in line with the tradition of welcoming foreign dignitaries, heads of state, as they visit China. And it looks like the plane has taxied to a complete stop there on the tarmac. We're looking forward to seeing President Vladimir Putin any minute now as the cabin door opens.
He's about to kick off his 25th visit to the country, and he's going to hold talks with President Xi Jinping on various matters of both bilateral relations and mutual concern and also international interest.
It's an ER-96 airplane. It's a Russian-made, huge airplane.
And you can see, as you can see, a lot of media attention on this visit as well. A crowd of journalists and reporters there on site at the airport to cover the arrival of the Russian president, who landed moments ago to begin his two-day state visit to China. The Guard of Honor is in position. The children welcoming the president at the airport are in position. We're waiting to see the president any moment now as he emerges from the airplane.
But the two countries are major neighbors, and their relationship has a very strategic dimension, but it also has a very practical texture in it: bridges and ports, energy routes, and trade flows, universities, markets, exhibition, cultural programs, and local communities, etc. And that is why the idea of good neighborliness is not only a principle in the treaty, it is something that can be seen in everyday cooperation as well.
Professor Gong, let me pick up where we left off just now, talking about the education exchanges between the two sides. If you look at what a year of education can do, it basically encourages the exchange of personnel from both sides and what could be the result from that. We talked about the complementarity of trade between the two sides. What about education? Is that complementary also?
I can speak for our university. For example, we have a very close relationship with McGill University in Moscow, which is specialized in international relations, economics, and these fields. And as a matter of fact, they send their master level students to our UIB campus for 1 semester or 1 year, and the degree, the thesis of the master level students will be supervised jointly by one professor from UIB and another professor from Gilmer University. As a matter of fact, I have supervised a couple of students in the past. These are very small students, and they came to Beijing and spent some time here, and some of them actually developed businesses over the years, benefiting from the relationship between Russia and China. So I think, definitely in realm of education, especially higher education, there's close relationship. Our university also has a very good relationship with University of St. Petersburg. As a matter of fact, I'm actually going to go to St. Petersburg's International Economic Forum for a panel hosted by that university. So it's coming in about, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. So definitely, I can speak for myself, speak for our university, that really this kind of close cooperation relationship between universities at the higher education level is indeed happening between China and Russia.
Yeah, a good high...
Oh, he's coming out.
You can see the motorcade for President Putin is already getting ready to receive him.
Yeah,
we wait for the emergence of President Putin from the airport, the airplane door.
Exactly. I mean, we were talking about the quality and features of higher education, and one of them being the openness. I mean, students that do get a higher education do want to be exposed to the outside world. They do want to see more of the world through exchange programs. Professor Liu, can I get your thoughts on what the years of education might bring to both sides?
I think, there'll be increased in number, not only in students, but also in scholarly exchanges. And then more of the programs will be on the agenda, particularly in revising and updating the curriculum for joint development. And we do notice there has been rising interest in the cutting edge areas like artificial intelligence and application in e-commerce and dealing even with futures trade, how to calculate ETF, over a stock exchange, etc. So this really are there, ushering a better prospect for each other to collaborate in the education sector.
Exactly, and President Putin is actually officially kicking off his official visit to China this year, and he is about to descend the stairs, appear at the door of the airplane and descend the stairs very soon.
You can see the presidential motorcade is ready there at the airport. A welcome ceremony, obviously they're ready to welcome visiting Russian President Vladimir Putin, and Foreign Minister Wang Yi there is at the end of the red carpet, rode out in honor of visiting Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Russian president flew into the airport here in Beijing just moments ago, and a full-on welcome ceremony is in session.
Right, and we can see a lot of young people waving the flags of both countries to welcome President Putin's visit. And as we just said, according to a survey jointly conducted by China and Russia, 80% of the young people aged between 18 to 35 actually welcomed the close relationship between the two countries.
And again, a reminder of what the two presidents might be talking about when they meet. According to the Chinese Foreign Ministry, the two heads of state will discuss bilateral relations, cooperation in various fields, and international and regional issues of mutual interest. That agenda is broad, but it is also coherent.
Right, and Guo Jiakun, the spokesperson, also said that China-Russia cooperation has brought real benefits to both countries and both peoples, and has also made important contributions to maintaining global strategic stability.
And for two major countries to maintain steady, predictable, and constructive relations is significant in itself. It provides continuity, it supports dialogue, and it creates room for coordination.
President Putin has officially started his visit to China. He was greeted by Foreign Minister Wang Yi at the Beijing Capital International Airport. And China has actually repeatedly emphasized the role of the two heads of a state in providing strategic guidance for the relationship. And that phrase, strategic guidance, is important because it explains how a relationship of this scale really operates. And we're looking forward to the bilateral meetings between the two heads of state tomorrow. And CGTN is going to keep you updated on all the developments.
Yeah, if you're just joining us here on CGTN, you're looking at pictures from the airport here in the Chinese capital, where Russian President Vladimir Putin has just arrived. The motorcade is now moving. A welcome ceremony is held at the airport in honor of the visiting Russian president. The main part of his visit is tomorrow, when he will be meeting with his Chinese counterpart. CGTN is staying on top of all the developments here and will bring you comprehensive coverage of the Russian president's two-day state visit to China.
Right, and according to China's foreign ministry, this is President Putin's 25th visit to China, and he also, the spokesperson also placed visit in the wider development of China-Russia relations under the strategic guidance of President Xi Jinping and President Putin, and China-Russia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership of Coordination for a New Era has developed in a healthy, stable, and deepening manner, and cooperation has continued to expand across many fields, bringing tangible benefits to both countries and peoples. And the relationship has made an important contribution to global strategic stability as well. Well, this year has 3 milestones, given the visit even greater significance. 30 years of China-Russia strategic partnership or coordination, 25 years of Treaty of Good Neighborliness and Friendly Cooperation, and also the launch of China-Russia Years of Education. And from tonight's airport arrival, the visit actually moves into its next stage, high-level talks, practical cooperation, and continued effort to carry China-Russia relations toward greater depths, a higher level, and more stability for the world.
Damoke TV.